Anyone who's played Pokemon is familiar with trainer encounters. Being ambushed by random trainers in the middle of a route is inevitable in any Pokemon playthrough. This dilemma caused speedrunners to start paying attention to the precise ways every trainer on every route moves around in order to juke around trainers they don't need to fight. Buckle up, folks, I got some juicy stuff for you today. In Pokemon Emerald, there's a couple key points where you need to pull off some serious finesse to dodge what are called spinner trainers, basically any trainer that spins around. Speedrunners will spend sometimes hours just to get the optimal juke on trainers in the least amount of frames possible. And these routes aren't always obvious to the casual viewer. Like, look at this clip from Ananan. You bike up these stairs, turn right at the sign, bump into this tree while dismounting your bike, run up to the right side of the hiker, hop on your bike, juke around him on the left side, bump into the wall, dismount the bike, and then go into the door. Watching this might leave you with a lot of questions, like, why does the player bump into the walls so much? Why so much dismounting? Why didn't the hiker notice you passing by him? Well, the reason you bonk into the walls while riding your bike is because for some reason in Gen 3, the animation that plays when you turn directions is super long, like 8 frames long, but you can skip the animation by turning while you're not moving. So by ramming your bike into the wall here, you can dismount, which takes 3 frames, and turn to face upwards, skipping the animation entirely. But how did the hiker spinner not notice the player run by him? In short, the answer is through spinner manipulation, but to understand how that works, you need to know how spinner mechanics work. But before we dive into that rabbit hole though, I just want to say I started this speedrunning series because I really like learning about niche gaming stuff, and I'm really glad you guys are all open-minded enough to find this stuff as interesting as I do. So thanks for 15k subs. I don't know what our community will look like in the next couple months or even years, but we're early in the journey and I always got some big stuff planned for the future. So in order to learn more, I read this document by Kurt. If for some reason you like reading, the link is in the description if you want to follow along. Every Pokemon generation has different mechanics for how these spinners move around, but for the purposes of this video, I'm just going to focus on Emerald because it's complicated enough. Put simply, there's 2 things every spinner trainer needs to know: how many different directions they can turn and how long they have to wait before they can turn again. So let's start with the delay. Basically, there's trainers with short delay, which means they can wait 32, 48, 64, or 80 frames before turning a different direction. Then there's medium delay, which means you can wait 32, 64, 96, or 128 frames before turning a different direction. And then there's, so basically, if you're a short delay bug catcher spinner trainer, you might be facing up and then 32 frames later pick a different direction. The caveat here is that you can technically pick the same direction, like turning left even though you're already facing left. So it would look like you haven't turned, but internally, you know you did. Okay, so this is where things get a bit complicated. Every spinner can face either 4 directions, 3 directions, 2 opposite directions like up and down or left and right, or 2 adjacent directions like up and left or down and right. If you're a 4 direction spinner or a 2 opposite direction spinner, you have a medium delay. If you're a 3 direction spinner or a 2 adjacent direction spinner, you have a short delay. Now, why do we care about all this? Well, because knowing how the spinners spin helps us to manipulate their movements. So there's 3 ways to manipulate spinner movements. And if you watched the Pokemon Emerald speedrun, you've probably seen this at some point. The first one's called the bag manip. So as I mentioned earlier, regardless of whether you have a short delay or a medium delay spinner, the shortest possible amount of time a spinner has to wait before turning is 32 frames. This wait period is programmed to reset when you open the bag menu. So speedrunners figured out that by opening the bag menu, it guarantees you that the spinner will be frozen in place for at least 32 frames, so you can safely pass the spinner. The problem is that it takes precious seconds to open the bag. So for it to be worth it, speedrunners figured out how to stack the bag manip with things like using proteins, TMs, and reordering items in order to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. The second manip is the running manip. You might have noticed in Gen 3 Pokemon games that if you try to run past a spinner, they'll usually hear you and spot you trying to pass them. Well, for some reason, they can't hear you if you're walking or on your bike. So let's say you're trying to pass a spinner on the right. By running to this tile, you can manipulate the spinner into looking down, and then you'll be able to walk or bike past them afterwards, no problem, since it's 32 frames at least until they can spin again. The third manip is the pause manip. This one's kind of complicated and it would take way too long to spell out a perfect example, but I think the best way to explain it simply would be like this. So we know at this point that spinners have at least a 32 frame window between spins. That means you have 32 frames to get past them, which seems like a lot of time. It's about half a second. until you account for the amount of frames it takes to actually move your player character. It takes 16 frames to both walk and mock bike a single tile, so you basically have a 15 frame window to react, or if you have to turn, a 7 frame window, because remember, turning your player character takes 8 frames. This is just way too hard to do consistently, so the pause manip basically buys you time to react to a spinner. What speedrunners will do is wait 32 frames, hit pause, and see if the spinner actually spun, since remember, it's only 32 frames at minimum minimum. So if the speedrunner didn't spin, they know they have another 32 frames to pass by them. And if they did spin, they hit pause again and repeat the process until they have a safe pass. Hope that all makes sense, and as a reward for that much info dumping, here's a funny clip of speedrunner Amoeba UK getting f***ed by RNG and having to wait 30 whole seconds before being able to pass one tile.
Come on guys, work together. Come on. Hello? Please? Both of you? Fucking shit, dude.
And if you thought these manips were precise, the RNG manipulation to get Raikou in Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver is probably the hardest in all of Pokemon speedrunning. You basically have a 2-frame window to press A on a specific frame, and you can only do it after you beat the first 3 gyms and manipulate your starter Cyndaquil. But that's a topic best saved for another day.